What's up YouTube is coming at you from Japan, aborted soul for life bitches. He's the fucking shit, oh yeah.
A lot of debates with me seems to understand what the word objective means. Alright, this is Objectivity 101, take 2. The last time I tried it, my sound got all fucked up and I'm so irritated because I really was satisfied with that. But I'm gonna have to start all over fucking computers. Okay. Things pertaining to human minds and human feelings and stuff like that. Most people that say everything is subjective, that's probably fuck. Alright. Gonna fucking try this again. Now with my speakers muted. My sound was off the first time, then I got messages and shit while I'm trying to talk. So this is take 3. This is Objectivity 101, take 3. Alright, what I'm going to talk about today is objectivity. What is it? I'm going to give an example, and I'm going to talk about what it means, like the implications of an objective reality as opposed to a subjective reality. So let's pop up with the first point. Objective reality, what is it? Now I'm not referring to emotional subjectivity, because that, how someone feels, is entirely up to them. Now, although people do feel things, there is no proof or machine that can prove, there's no sort of objective proof that you can get. Even though it is an objective reality on what they're feeling, they are feeling something. It is a chemical process, it is something that's happening in their brain. There's no way to prove what it is. The only proof that you have that it does exist would be that you have them yourself, and that you can assume that everyone around you is going to have emotions too, because they act similar, they express them in the same way. So you're what you think of as anger and what they think of as anger. We're part of the same species, we have very similar chemical reactions most of the time. But that's not, that, clear the table, take that off right now. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about objective reality, what it is to say something is objective and not subjective. Now, the Ionians established this, the principle that some things, that there may be laws in reality that are not governed by a consciousness, that aren't governed by a mind, like directly like a human mind or a god, so to speak. That the mechanisms of the universe, that chemistry and gravity and all of these things are very easily, or not easily, I'm sorry, but they are very objectively defined, that there are some specific things that will not change, that are not subjected to whims. And ultimately, I think reality is made up completely of these processes, and they're very complex. Like a human being, for instance, would be a pattern of organic material, and it's really hard to guess what they're thinking based on how far and how much we know about the physical substrate right at this point. But to go back to what objective reality is, what a subjective reality would be. Let's say you pick up a lucky penny. You think it's lucky, therefore things go luckily. Like good things happen, or psychics can read each other's minds or read somebody's mind. These are very subjective things. Like if you're angry, the world reacts to it directly to your emotions. Things like this, and they don't. Gravity, no matter how angry you are, unless you take action, unless you do something specific, gravity is not going to change based on your feelings, or based on your beliefs. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. At mean sea level, if you take a Coke can, if you take a can full of Coke that you have not opened yet, or Pepsi or Gatorade or whatever you want to have, put it into a fridge or a freezer until it gets cold, so it is cold to the touch, take it out and put it on top of the fridge. You'll notice that something happens that's very objective, and it will happen every time. As long as the things are correct, as long as the situations are correct, there's definite situational objectivity. There will always be condensation on that can every time. If there's water in the air, if you were at mean sea level and the air pressure is the same and the can is cold, then water will condense on it. That's just how it works. Gravity is a very similar example. If you throw a ball up, it comes down, but that's too often used, and gravity is strange because things attract. It's not one solid force. that you can describe the same way that you could with condensation. Same thing happens with a lot of things. Things can be objectively viewed. Now, it definitely depends on the situation. It's situational, but it's objective. Alright, so that is what is objective reality. It's that the idea that a situation will always have similar results. We see this in chemistry. If you put certain things into a medium and you mix it up, you can use, even if you've never done it before, you can actually use scientific properties that have already been established to guess what's going to be. And if you're accurate enough, you don't even have to guess. You don't have to do that specific experiment, because if you are accurate enough, you can already know what happens. We've already documented what happens with certain things, and like the periodic table, it's a set of laws. It's a set of things that we know about reality. They say it's the atom theory. As far as we've never seen an atom, so we can't specifically, but the amount of evidence is stacked a mile high on that. So if we're incorrect, we're correct in everything that matters now. Our chemistry is already established as being correct. It's a science, and we've got it down to a science. You can write on pen and paper what's going to happen when you mix two things together and how it's going to come out. So that's what objective reality means. To take a step further into my second point, which is, what was my second point? Objective reality. We had examples. Okay, I've given examples that can. And the third one would be, what does this mean? This means that the world is not subjected to the willpower of something that directly affects reality. In all of our tests, it always comes up the same, no matter how you feel about it. So if there is some sort of stoic, imaginary force out there that's controlling the universe and pulling strings and stuff, it does it so consistently that it doesn't matter. That whatever is doing it is a machine. Like, it does it very exactly. The laws, the rules that have set up on existence, as far as it just, as long as we can get to the point of understanding it, we can predict it. That seems very consistent on as far as we've gone. Even with quantum physics, we can make something not be ambiguous. We can go through that process, and based on what we do to it, we can choose which way it goes. Whether it's oh, okay. So what does this mean to us? Well, in chemistry, this means that we can ultimately that we can design our reality. That we are not limited by our resources. Our resources are plentiful. Uranium and gold were cooked up in a cosmic explosion, a supernova, the collapse of a star, and it exploded, and it compressed a nebula into what is now our galaxy, or not galaxy, our solar system. Sorry, and a lot of the elements on Earth have been once or twice cooked in a star and then exploded and then reformed as a nebula. So we have second and third generation materials on Earth. That's why we have so many complex things, which is one of the things that allows for organic material. Carbon, for instance, is usually that's usually for second generation stuff. But okay. What does this mean, though? Well, what does objective reality mean? It means that with enough knowledge, we can manipulate the laws, because they're laws. They're specific things that you follow that in cases that have been defined. As long as you follow the parameters, you get x plus y equals z, and every time it is, as long as you keep the conditions properly, it's objective. So, and we're seeing, this is an example of it right now that you're seeing this video. All the processes that have gone into creating these computers, creating the webcams, the sciences and the theories behind these cameras and these computers, all of the cable laying, all of the amount of power, the power generated at the power plants that powers these. It's all based on science. It's all science, and it's objective. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be able to construct such things of great complexity, because there would be a shifting base of reality. But reality is very stoic. Now the laws and rules don't really bend. They're there. They seem to bend sometimes, like the speed of light and stuff like that, with some of the new stuff that we're coming up with, because we didn't originally understand them. It's our understanding that's limited. As far as we know, it's very subjective. Now, there's a footnote on this in a second, but when you have enough matter, you can create something out of it, anything you want. It's just it's that you are limited in knowledge. You are not. We're not limited in resources. We need the knowledge to be able to. It's not that we're not having enough gas. We're going to run out of oil, or the world is too polluted. It gets too hot, too cold. These temperatures, these chemicals, they're just fucking chemicals. They're just temperatures, and we can manipulate them if we have the knowledge. We don't need to fear any of this stuff. So we need to get to that point scientifically. Now, as the footnote, as just a final thing to tack on to the end of this video. Reality, as at some of its smaller pieces in quantum physics, seems to be somewhat subjective. It defies the mind, which is one of the reasons quantum physics scares the shit out of people. It confuses me sometimes, all the time. But okay, like if you witness certain processes, it affects the outcomes, and if it's measured, basically. So we don't really understand quantum physics exactly, but it shows us that at least consciousness and matter are connected. So that's something to think about. But that it doesn't affect our scientific experiments as far as we've gone to with chemistry and stuff like that. So I just wanted to drop out the idea of an objective reality. So if you're going to say something is subjective, know what you're talking about. Don't be like, well, everything is everything is subjective. Blah blah blah. Well, no, it's situational. There's a difference. Alright, this would be me, the aborted soul, dropping my keyboard and signing off. Peace out. Fuck off, and have a good day.